All right, today we're going to talk about something that is so common, money anxiety. But we're going a little deeper. We're talking about that specific nagging kind of anxiety that sticks around even when, on paper, it looks like you have nothing to worry about. I mean, it is such a frustrating question, right? You're doing the right things. You save your money, you pay off your debts, you're not overspending. But that feeling, that sense of dread about your finances, it just doesn't go away. If that sounds anything like you, trust me, you are not alone. It's a real puzzle that a lot of really responsible people are trying to solve. So to really get a handle on this, let's dive into a real-life story from a user on Reddit's personal finance forum. This person is doing everything right, but just like they said, a simple purchase, just a few $100, can send them spiraling. This is the exact paradox we are going to unpack. Okay, so let's get right into it and look at the actual numbers behind this person's story. Because on the surface, their situation looks totally fine, which honestly just makes the anxiety even more confusing. Just look at this. Their income is around $40,000 a year. They've got 25 grand saved for retirement, $9,000 sitting in checking, and this is the big one. They have zero debt. They paid off $20,000 in student loans. By pretty much any standard, this is a really solid financial base. So where in the world is this crippling fear coming from? Well, the answer isn't in a spreadsheet or a bank statement. It's in our heads. This isn't just a math problem, you know. It's about our deep, personal, and often complicated relationship with money. To really understand the feeling, we have to look past the numbers. You see, research from the National Institutes of Health points to what they call a vicious cycle. When you're stressed about money, it can take a real toll on your mental health. But then, when your mental health is suffering, it becomes way harder to manage your finances, which, you guessed it, creates even more money stress. It's this feedback loop that can be so tough to break. And this really gets to the heart of it, as another Reddit user pointed out. For so many of us, money isn't just about buying stuff. It represents something much more fundamental: safety, security. If you feel like other support systems aren't there for you, money becomes your primary safety net. And any threat to that net feels like a threat to your very survival. And for the person in our story, this is where it all clicks into place. Their anxiety comes from past trauma. Things like watching your parents struggle, having the power shut off, or seeing a bank account with literally 1 cent in it. Those experiences can basically hardwire your brain for a fight or flight response anytime money is involved. Your nervous system doesn't care about the $9,000 in the bank today. It remembers the terror of having nothing. Okay, so understanding why you feel this way is a huge step. But now what? How do you actually break the cycle? Let's get into the toolkit, starting with the practical, real-world strategies you can use to build a foundation of genuine security. The number one piece of advice you'll hear is to create a dedicated emergency fund. And this isn't just some extra cash sloshing around in your checking account. No, this is a separate account, ideally a high-yield savings account, with one job and one job only: to be your financial fire extinguisher. You decide what a real emergency is. Think job loss, not a weekend sale. And then you put your savings on autopilot. This creates a buffer that's both financial and psychological. Next up is budgeting, but maybe not in the way you're thinking. A lot of people see a budget as a cage, a list of things you can't do. But tools like YNAB, which stands for You Need a Budget, flip that idea on its head. The philosophy is to give every dollar a job. This turns your budget from a restriction into a proactive plan for what you want your money to accomplish. You actually plan for those big, annoying expenses, like a car repair. So when it happens, it's not a 5-alarm fire. It's just part of the plan. And listen, this stuff isn't just theory. It actually works. An NIH study looked at an online program that teaches these exact kinds of skills. And get this, it had a 77% completion rate, which is amazing for an online program. And the people who finished it reported big drops in anxiety and depression, and a huge boost in their overall sense of financial well-being. But, and this is a big but, having a financial safety net is absolutely crucial, but it won't solve the problem all by itself. You also have to work on the internal toolkit, right? The mental habits that are actually fueling the anxiety in the first place. Let's get into that side of it. Think of it like this. Real security has two sides. On one side, you have your financial habits: budgeting, saving, investing. That stuff creates your external stability. It's your real-world safety net. But on the other side, you have your mental habits: challenging those anxious thoughts, practicing gratitude. That creates internal peace. You absolutely need both to feel truly secure. So, one of the most powerful tools for building those mental habits is something called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. It is a super effective way to deal with anxiety. The whole idea is to learn how to catch those automatic negative thoughts that pop into your head, question them, and then reframe them into something more balanced and realistic. Here's a super practical example of what that looks like. Your car breaks down and your brain just screams, "This car repair will ruin me." That's the automatic anxious thought. But with a CBT approach, you hit the brakes. You challenge it. What's the evidence against that thought? Well, I have 9 grand in the bank and zero debt. The process helps you land on a much more realistic thought like, okay, this is annoying and unplanned, but my savings are literally for this exact situation. It's a setback, not a total disaster. And there are other great techniques too. One is scheduling worry time. It sounds kind of weird, but you give yourself a specific 15-minute window each day to think about your money worries. The goal is to contain the anxiety instead of letting it bleed into your entire day. Simple things like practicing gratitude, journaling to get thoughts out of your head, and just talking to someone who trust can also make a huge difference. So after all this, what's the big takeaway here? It really points to a whole new way of thinking about what it means to be financially healthy, and it goes way beyond just the numbers in your bank account. And really, here is what it all boils down to. True financial well-being is not some finish line you cross when you hit a certain net worth. It's a practice. It's the ongoing process of building both your external financial systems and your internal mental resilience so you can handle whatever life throws at you without getting knocked completely off balance. Finding that kind of peace is a journey for sure. It's not a one-and-done kind of thing. So the question to leave you with is pretty simple. Looking at all these different tools we've talked about, what's just one small step, one manageable thing you can do today to start building your own sense of financial calm?